Disclaimer: the views, opinions, and insinuations made by the host or guests do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome, Think Talkers. Good afternoon to each and every one of you. Welcome to another transformative live episode here in Think Talk broadcast. Thank you for being part of our month-long series of premiere episodes of TTB Chapter Unfold, hosted by professional certified life coaches and thought leaders from Life Coach Philippines International. I am your host, Life Coach Marifa Garfin, for premiere episode 18, and that is practicing patience. So today we're diving into discovering how to turn everyday parenting struggles into moments of joy and connection through practical techniques and inspiring stories. So in this episode, I want you to really stay tuned with me, we will learn 9 tough lessons in parenting and 9 techniques to practicing patience in your parenting. So grab your notebook, settle into a comfortable space, and get ready to embark on this enlightening journey with us. Remember, the power of patience helps effective parents deal calmly and rationally to the day-to-day problems and annoyances that, when add up, may cause a gap in the parent-child relationship. So, stay tuned and let's dive in. We'll be right back. And we're back. And I hope that all the parents, you have tagged them along in here. So let me give my shout out to all the kindred coaches in the house. We have Coach Candy, we have Coach Lynn, Coach BJ. Thank you for coming in, Coach. Of course, we have Ati Shaila, Grace Tobio from Tacloban City, and the rest of those who are still coming. Coach Colleen, thank you so much for hopping in with me. So tag along po yung inyong mga, those whom you know, all the parents that you know, tag them along because this conversation is really prepared for them. So patience, we're going to be talking about practicing patience. Patience is a virtue. Are you agreeing with me? Now, one of the hardest lessons for parents is learning to be patient. Learning to be patient. Children test limits, right? And boundaries, and um, responding with patience rather than frustration is crucial for the development and peace of mind. So now I'm going to be sharing to you 9 tough lessons we need to learn as parents so we can nurture well our children to mental fitness. So consistency is basically key. No, number one, tough lesson is consistency is key. Being consistent with rules and expectation is essential for children to understand boundaries and develop a sense of security. Inconsistency can lead to confusion and behavioral issues. That's why for parents, it is a must that you come into a conversation. What are the major decisions? Who's going to make a decision? And what would be the decision? You have to come along to really in agreement so that the child will not really be confused. And even this consistency have also to extend, especially for Filipino families, we need to extend allowing other because in Filipino families there will be grandmothers, there will be aunts, there will be yayas. So we have to extend that consistency, understanding that we need to be consistent in everything that we are teaching our children, because it will cause confusion on the part of the child, and soon the child may say who's right and who's correct. And consistency, practicing consistency is never easy because the struggle in parenting is oftentimes than not, if we're not mindful, we become emotional. And when we are emotional, especially if the child is pestering you and you're doing a lot of things, you would just say, okay, 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 just let it go. So you bend the rules. You're not consistent. So it's very important that consistency is practiced, because it will help you in your in developing patience in the child. Second is letting go of perfection. So who is along with me has this struggle with children? No parent is perfect. I read a quote that says, there is no perfect parent, only the real one. So you are being asked now, no, letting go of perfection is asking you to be authentic, to be who you are. And striving for perfection can lead to unnecessary stress and guilt. Embracing imperfection and learning from mistakes is vital for both parents and children. And when when you commit mistake and you did something and you apologize, you are actually opening the door of allowing your child to see that people makes mistake and it's not the end of the line. And you create in your children the ability to also be patient on themselves. So perfection, if you're comparing your child from one to the other, there's no such thing. If you've created a picture of your child to be this one, no, the ideal that you have pictured in your mind, you're gonna be having some struggles, because there's no such thing as perfection. It's a lifelong process. So parents, let go of perfection. Second, balancing work and family life. It's not easy to balance. So, have you ever imagined an elephant uh, on top of a ball? No, trying to balance, and the elephant is trying to balance a ball. That's balancing. It's never easy. Finding the right balance between professional responsibilities and family time is challenging. So let me give a shout out to all working parents. No, prioritizing and setting boundaries can help ensure that neither aspect is neglected. There will be many times that from my own story, when I was still working as a nurse, I was handling 140 nurses. I was training, I was mentoring, I was doing a lot of things. And aside from my work, I was also actively involved in a lot of association, Philippine Nurses Association, Association of Nursing Service Administrator. I was involved in church. I was also involved in high school reunions, organizing all of those things. I was there. And it took a toll. It took a toll on me and my children, because I was no longer able to balance. I had more time doing things that I should have been doing for my children. And so it is important that you come into a space of really understanding the value, so that you will be able to balance work and family. And it takes patience to do that. It takes patience to learn it, but it can be learned. Okay? So I hope that you're catching up with me. So write it down now, write the notes down so that you can really review it later. Number 4, tough lesson for parents is effective communication. Open and honest communication with children is essential, and you need patience for this, right? This involves not only talking, but also actively listening to their concerns and feeling, which help build trust and understanding. And this is never easy. If you're one from Generation X, just like me, we were raised. No, I was raised just like you. If you're Generation X, you were raised to not answer. You're just a child. You listen to your parent. Whatever your parent will say, you will simply comply. And it's not easy to do it right now, because that's what you were used to. But the call of time in this present generation, if we want to practice patience and teach patience to our children, parents, listen to me. We got to learn to actively listen. And we need to shut up. Shut up for once and for all. No? When you ask your child to come in for a conversation, there is a decision that I will listen. Because when you listen, you hear the things that are unsaid in the words that your child is speaking. And that gives that sense of value towards your children. No? So that's one thing that we need to do, no, which this will help build trust and understanding. When we listen, it is very important. Listening part, Never easy, but it is important. Number five, teaching responsibility. Allowing children to take on responsibilities and experience the consequences of their action is crucial for their development. It's tough to watch them struggle, right, parents? And if we can just take the hit, let's take the hit, right? That's what we do. We take the hit para so that they will not get hurt, right? But it builds resilience and independence. And one of the things that I've been teaching a lot of parents whom I have conversation with is that, for example, when you're teaching them to wash dishes, and oftentimes and not we teach them, but we have the picture of what should be the output. So the concentration or the focus is the output already of what you're teaching, like washing the dishes. It's no longer on the teaching process, right? Isn't it right? So when the child finishes washing the dishes and the result is not the same as you expected, or the way you do it, the way when you wash dishes, you get angry. It's not the process, it's more of the output. But when you talk about teaching responsibility, when you talk about teaching, you are teaching them to take action, and through the struggles, even if they have difficulty, even if it's not the same, you just praise them, you teach them, they feel good and they would want to try it again. The question, parents, is when we teach responsibility, we are not into the teaching. The goal is not to teach, but rather for them to have the result, which will take time. Let me ask you, when you started learning to wash the dishes, how many years were you able to kind of say you perfected it already? I mean, to me, like when I was really thinking about this one, um, I remember asking myself, what was, I'm 54 years old, and the way I wash the dishes would be different from the way my child will wash the dishes because I've been doing it for 54 years, or maybe plus minus 10 years. No, maybe I started washing at 10 years old. Then it's still 40 plus years, right? So it's still a different result. So it's not the result, but rather the goal is to build resilience and independence. And teaching responsibility needs a lot of patience. Number six, handling disappointment. Children needs to learn how to deal with disappointment and failure. Parents must resist the urge to shield their kids from every setbacks and instead teach them how to cope and learn from these experiences. Now, this is a tough lesson to learn as a parent because honestly, even if you as a parent you don't know how to handle your own disappointment, it's going to be difficult to teach your child, no? Help them to handle disappointment. If you look back and if you reflect on yourself, how do you handle disappointment? What does your children see whenever there's disappointment in your part? Ayan, Coach Candy Tang said, resist the urge to shield. Yes. No, I remember a scenario, no, when my daughter adopted a sickly looking dog. Well, it was really a sickly looking dog. What I'm trying to say, it was really very thin. It's like skin and bones with no fur at all. Imagine a dog with no fur at all. And I was kind of afraid that the dog has rabies. But my daughter took a heart to really care for the dog, bring it home. No, she found it in school, bring it home, and so we just supported her in taking care. And soon the dog really became healthy. The dog loved my daughter so much and was very respectful, yeah, just like the dog in Decaf Coffee Republic. No, so the dog was really lovable. But after 7 years, something happened. We didn't learn. The dog died. And so my daughter was really crying her heart out. And we were kind of worried. No, we were kind of worried because we haven't seen her cried really that much. And so we went to her room, and my husband said, don't you worry, we'll get another dog. And I told I really, I look at my husband and tried to signal that that's not it. No, acknowledging the pain, acknowledging the disappointment, acknowledging what has happened is very important, so that my child will learn to cope with these experiences. So it's not even that. No, there are many experiences of your child that you will never be able to shield them from. And so at this onset, especially if your children are young, I would say, if you're listening to me right now and you are a parent of young children, you are in the best, like really the best opportunity now, because there's somebody teaching you about parenting. During our time, it was so limited and it was not kind of important. So if you're here right now, kudos to you. Thank you so much for choosing to be here. So handling disappointment comes and go. We as parents, we have disappointment. Our children will have. But allowing them to handle disappointment, teaching them how to handle by allowing them to express it, and then when they're ready, having a conversation with them, this will help them to be more patient with themselves. So handling disappointment is part of life, and it builds resilience. And so if we are in there, we're teaching disappointment, handling disappointment with them, lo and behold, sooner or later they're going to learn how to handle and manage it as well. Next is setting realistic expectations. No, every child is unique, and comparing them to others or setting unrealistic expectation can be detrimental to their self-esteem. Recognizing and nurturing their individual strengths and weaknesses is important. There is no standard rule that you will be able to create, that you would say this is all applicable to my children, and all my children will respond at the same time and the same way. No, there's not. And so when you are able to set realistic expectation for each of your children, you become more patient. You recognize their differences, you celebrate their differences, and you're able to help them walk through, enhance more of their strength, work on their strength, and help them through the weaknesses that they have. And that will create in their heart, you know what? It will create in their heart the joy, no? The joy to really be able to stand up once again when expectations are not met. And then number eight is maintaining self care. Parenting is demanding and neglecting. Self care can lead to burnout, right? Parents need to take time for themselves to recharge and maintain their well being, which in turn benefits their children. We were taught. No, we were taught by the previous generation that things has to be finished. That as a mother, you have to focus 100% in your child. It doesn't mean that when you're focusing 100%, you're serving your child, you don't do anything for yourself. You are no longer allowed to drink a cup of coffee in silence, to have your own quality reading with your favorite book. No, it doesn't mean that way. Because when you take care of yourself, you are best able to take care of your child. Maintaining self-care is key in sustaining and learning patience. That's very important. And oftentimes we feel guilty when we're away from our child. It doesn't mean need to be away. Like example, for today, you're gonna say, today I'm gonna do my self-care. That means I'm not gonna get angry when the sofa gets, will be rearranged, when there will be clatters of toys in the floor. I will today's self-care. I'm not gonna get angry. I will just enjoy the day. That's self-care. And that's stretching your patience, right? So it's tough lessons, not easy. Then number nine, adapting to change. Parenting strategies and family dynamics will evolve as children grow. Being flexible and open to change is necessary to effectively meet the changing needs of your children at different stages of their development. That's the reason why, for parents, you need to learn, you need to know, you need to be aware. Be aware of the stages of development for your children so that you will be best able to really guide them, help them, and your expectation will be for that particular thing or particular season that your child is in. When your child is an adolescent, there will be so many hormones going on a haywire, and they will respond. They'll be very moody. But when you're aware, you are best able to respond appropriately. That this is just a season. This is just passing through. So you will not be very reactive to the point that you're gonna get angry because your children is stubborn for you. So it's very important to know. You learn to adapt, you become flexible, and that requires a lot of patience to be flexible, to learn it. But this is very important for our children and to be able to really raise them to be mentally fit children. So I hope that you got it, no? I hope that you got it. And I I hope that you're connecting with, if you're connecting with anything, with all those things that maybe one of those that I've shared, the lesson I mentioned, type in the chat box the most that you can relate with. Keep it coming as we go on a short break. And when I come back, I will share to you the 9 techniques to practicing patience. See you in a while.
As a business owner, are you overwhelmed by the need to post beautiful, engaging content every single day? Are you left wondering what to write? Tired of scrolling through stock photos that all start to look the same? Confused by complicated graphic design programs? Rise Up Creatives is here to help. Each month, we give you everything you need to create 31 days of social media content in just 5 minutes a day. Customizable captions, curated lifestyle photos, a drag and drop graphic design tool, and the ability to post directly to your social media accounts. No one else empowers you with these 4 resources all in one place. Each month, we help you plan your social media calendar by providing you with 31 image themes and customizable captions so you can quickly and easily create engaging content and grow your following. Simply select the image that works best for your feed or story. Then, copy the caption and customize it to fit your audience. 5 minutes a day. It's that quick. Plus, you'll absolutely love our drag and drop graphic design tool. Start from scratch or choose one of our beautiful templates to fit your unique brand. When you're ready to export your design, you can download, email, or post directly to your social media accounts. Here's the truth. Our world needs what you have to offer. Don't let technology or procrastination hold you back. Rise Up Creatives is more than an online resource. We're a community helping you overcome your biggest barriers to reach your greatest goals. We're here to help you rise up and be creative.
And we're back. You got earlier the tough lessons every parent must learn. And it's not easy, right? Well, parenting is really tough, honestly. And these days, due to the generational landscape, new generational landscape. So, parents, if you need a breather, if you need a perfect place to really, you know, break the routine in parenting, there's a place, Decaf Coffee Republic. It's up all night from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. inside Pioneer Center compound, corner Brixtons and United Street, Capitolio, Pasig City. And from the barista to the server are all life coaches. And if you want that beautiful conversation, because there are times when we are only conversing with our children, but we need to actually be able to also speak to an adult, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're a full-time mom. There would be time that you wanted someone to speak with, and you're not feeling a safe space. Decaf Coffee Republic is for you. And I invite you to join the face-to-face events such as Midnight Kapihan with Master Coach A and the Prayer Dawn every Friday early a.m. So drop by in there. Plus, of course, we have the open mic on Saturday, which is a night of self-expression. And you know what? Life coaching is a powerful process that gives ease in parenting. So let me invite you to join our face-to-face certification this coming August 17 and 24. Connect now with Coach Rizal through 0917-586-1661. You know, we all need the help that we can get in uh, especially in parenting. So, are you up? Are you up already for our next nine things that I'm going to be sharing with you on how you can best practice patience? I'm going to be sharing to you nine techniques. So, get back your notebook and let's dive into this one. No. So number one that you need to really take on and take a good look for yourself is positive reinforcement. I believe it's familiar to you. You're familiar with this one. Using positive reinforcement to encourage desired behaviors can reduce the need for immediate disciplinary actions, thus promoting patience. It promotes patience. Studies indicate that rewarding good behavior is more effective in the long run than punishing bad behavior. Isn't it right? Even you as an adult, you as a parent, isn't it right when somebody will encourage you, somebody will tell you, oh, you're good at this one. Isn't it right that inherently your inner core will just respond to it and you become more empowered and you do things much more better the way you used to. Same so with our children. Positive reinforcement, like on a daily basis, praise, affirm, especially if the love language of your child is affirmation, words of affirmation. So it is much more better to really give positive reinforcement because you're gonna see your child not persistently or like making pestering you with something because they know that you see them and you trust them. So that's positive reinforcement. Second is modeling patience. And this is one thing who can relate with me. This is one thing that I am still working on today. If you're a parent, can you relate with me? No? Well, study shows that there are people who can be patient. They're born with it. They're really patient people. But studies also shows that you can cultivate patience. So if you don't have the patience right now, parents, we can still cultivate it. Children learn by developing by observing their parents. They look at us, we are actually their idols, especially when they're still below 10 years old. They're not yet adolescent. Their exposure to us is like 100%. So everything that we do, everything we say, we are their idols. Modeling patient behavior is daily interaction teaches children the value of patience. Research suggests that children imitate their parents' behavior, including how they handle frustration and stress. And this is something that I know by heart. You know, I am one person, I'm not a techie person. And when I started really, when I started having the cell phone long time ago, I was not yet a coach, and I would want my child to help me. I would want them to really do it as fast as they can, respond immediately, because the thought is, I'm the parent, you follow me. That was the thought. So I was not very patient. And when things doesn't go the way I expected it to be, well, I get angry even if it's not the fault of my child. I get irritated. It's not them, but I express it and they see it. And that's one thing also that my eldest is working on. So what I'm trying to say is that if we want to teach patience, let's model it. And again, as day one mental model of Coach Orville earlier shared, every day is a day to begin. If you failed modeling patience yesterday, then do it today. Do it today. If you fail today, do it again tomorrow until such time you become adept to it and you become comfortable with it and it becomes a reflex to you. The third technique is setting realistic expectation, which I've mentioned, which is also a tough lessons, right? It's a tough lesson to really bring yourself to expect realistically because our brain been have been seeing things and have been influenced by a lot of things, expectations by the world. But understanding child development stages helps set realistic expectations for behavior. So knowing what is developmentally appropriate reduces frustration and promotes patience. Educational resources and pediatric advice can guide parents in setting this expectation. I remember that having a conversation of a young mom who said that I'm just so frustrated because my child is supposed to be 4 months. She should be able to be crawling, but she's not crawling. She's standing up. She's standing up. But I said, if your child is healthy, if your child is happy, is eating well, is there are children who may not be able to do what is the standard, but you see the child healthy. So, setting realistic expectation in the development of your children will help you not to compare your child from the child of your friends or from the child of your neighbor. Okay, so it is part of it. It is part that we set realistic expectation. No, that is our responsibility, so that our children will not be forced. No, knowing no, it says educational resources. That means if the educational resources, because there are parents, even if it says this is it, it's still normal. Your child is still following still the normal developmental stages, but you're thinking and you're seeing the child of your friends, so you beat yourself. Am I a good mom? Am I doing it right? And you have the so many self-doubt to the point that you get frustrated and you don't are not able to do the thing that you're supposed to do. So setting realistic expectation is important, so that you become patient more to yourself, so that you can give that patience to your child. Number 4 technique is taking breaks. Taking breaks, no? When emotions are high, taking a short break to cool down before responding can prevent impulsive reactions. Research supports the effectiveness of short timeouts for parents to regain composure and approach situation more calmly. One of the things that in the past few months that I've been teaching parents in partnership with another organization is that to allow them to understand that there is no such a thing as emergency, uh like when you're working on house chores, it's not an emergency. We have to be able to really come into a space of understanding what is important and what is urgent, because a lot of time as a parent we are trained, no, we have been trained to really do things like all at once, finish it like in 2 hours, 3 hours. We have that timeline for ourselves, which is actually not even realistic, as I've spoken earlier, as I've shared earlier. And we kind of wanted things to really like over and done with, to the point that we're so tired because we don't have the energy anymore, but we want to do it. And at the end of the day, we get angry, we get frustrated, we're not able to do it, we're very, very tired, and then we get impatient with the people in our space. Short time out for parents to regain composure and approach situation is more calmly is very important. Breathe, take a pause, drink some water, take coffee, a cup of coffee, go to the garden, breathe some air, take a break, because taking a break will help you become much more better parent. Number 5 is effective communication. Using clear, age appropriate communication techniques helps children understand expectation and reduces misunderstanding. Research highlights the importance of using I statement and active listening to foster better communication. When you're using the I word, when you say I did this, when you have conversation with your child and you're saying, this is what I feel, this is what I know, you're taking your responsibility, you're showing responsibility and accountability. You're not blaming people. That's why it's important to have that kind of communication with your child. As I've said earlier, oftentimes than not, we need to shut up to listen to our child so that we will understand them better. Because our mind has a default when we're having conversation with our children. Whenever our child is talking, we're not actually quiet. There is so many dialogue and so many conversation in the brain, and that comes out. And oftentimes than not, we invalidate our child. So, effective communication and definitely what is age appropriate. When we speak to our child, oftentimes or not, we expect them to understand things the way we understand it. We use words that we alone understand, and it's not they're not yet capable for it. So each of your child, you have to take a good look at them. And how will I speak? Learn. How will I speak to my 2 year old, to my 5 years old, and even to my 10 years old who's entering adolescence? It's going to be different. It's going to be different. That's why parenting is a full-time job. Number 6, stress management technique can build and help you develop practicing patience. Engaging in regular physical activity, maintaining a healthy diet, and ensuring adequate sleep are crucial for managing stress levels. Study shows that parents who manage stress effectively are more patient with their children. No? And oftentimes, though, when you come out, if you're a working parent, you can relate with me. Isn't it right that when you are really so swamped at work, you're very, very tired, you go home immediately, even if you don't want to get angry, even if you want to say good things, because of so much tiredness, you become emotional and you speak something carelessly, and it will wound your child, it will hurt them. And sometimes I would say, how come that how come that the room is messy? But the definition, if you have a 4 year old, if you have a 6 year old, the messy, the dirty is different. To them, it's toy, it's fun. And so they kind of look at you and said, how come my mom is so angry? How come my dad is pissed off? So managing your stress will allow you to be mindful, to hold on with your emotion, and be able to really listen effectively, engage in open communication, and truly enjoy your quality time or time with your children. Number 7, empathy development. Practicing empathy by trying to understand child's perspective can increase patience. Research indicates that empathetic parents are better equipped to handle challenging behavior with compassion and patience. When you're not empathic, you would bring yourself up. You will let your children say that I'm able to do this. How come you're not? The pressure is going to be increased. The pressure, the way your child will look at you, the pressure that they will embrace for themselves is going to be higher. And a lot of children develop anxiety. They develop depression because they kind of feel that I'm not meeting the standard of my parent. Empathy is important. Like when you started listening to your child, putting yourself in the shoes of the child, understanding where what kind of thinking that they have, the interpretation that they have. You can ask them questions graciously, patiently asking them what they're feeling, how they're feeling, so that you get to understand. Because honestly, even if your child looks like you, and we have a saying in the Filipino culture that uh, an apple tree will not will not bear a mango fruit. But at the end of the day, our child is still different from us. The way they will see things. That's why it's important to really look things in their perspective so we get to understand it. With this, you'll be able to start developing patience also upon yourself as you start developing empathy, starting to understand, being in their shoes, being in their shoes. Because oftentimes we have the expectation for our children to do the things that how come they're not able to. This is just simple. That is simple for you. It's simple for you because you're an adult. It's simple for you because you've gone through life. But your child is just beginning. So empathy development is important to be practiced so that you can practice patience. Number 8, consistency in routines. Establishing and maintaining consistency daily routines provide children with a sense of security and predictability, reducing instances of misbehavior and the need for immediate corrective action. Research support that structured environment leads to a fewer behavioral problems, and especially if your children are small. No, when the children are still small, no, they're still in the elementary days, so that you will not blow up, you will be able to really help them walk through the things that you wanted them to learn. Routine, establishing routine, like waking up in the morning, what's the first thing that they will do? It's a gentle way of telling them, practicing them, so that it becomes a reflex. And definitely when they become adults, it's a practice that they will have. Waking up in the morning, brush your teeth. After brushing your teeth, you now go to the kitchen or to the dining area. This is what you're going to do consistent, so that they get to embrace it, they get to develop it in them, and so you don't get to be frustrated, and you don't get angry when things doesn't happen the way you want it. A lot of times there are parents who expect so much, but they haven't actually explained, they have not actually made it clear to their children. Wash the dishes, and that's it. Well, the child will wash the dishes soon as she feels like it, because you didn't tell the child when, right? Can you wash this in 30 minutes? Is it possible for you to do this in 30 minutes? Gently, tone low, for the child to really understand that you are trusting, and um, you are needing her help, and that will feel that, and will make the child feel good about. So consistency in routine is really important, especially, as I've said, with small children. And number nine, support network. Support network. We need all this. I'm like, parents out there, we need support. We cannot isolate. Building a support network of friends, family, or parenting group provides emotional support and practical advice, reducing feelings of isolation and frustration. Study shows that parents who have strong support network report higher level of patience and overall well-being. Isn't it right that the natural default is that when you're having some struggle, you isolate? And you kind of feel you pity yourself, you kind of feel that you're not a good mom. How come my child is messy? How come I can't control my child? You beat yourself, because all the while you thought you are alone. But when you are in a network of people who are also, you're hearing them also having the same kind of struggles, you learn from their experiences, and you can better able to really do something to improve how you parent. That's why Decaf Coffee Republic is available. This is a safe space for people to hop in, to really have conversation, to network. There are a lot of parents in there, no, in Decaf Coffee Republic, that you can talk. And when you release your frustration during, when you have those support system in a group, when you're having conversation, it gives you that happy hormone. It's like you've exercised, it gives you that happy hormone, and you come up more positive, and you go home really feeling good. And that goodness, that positive emotion is now translated to the way you serve, and the way you connect with your children. So isolation is a no-no, and it's important for your well-being to really have a network, a support network. So those are the 9 steps, and of course, Coach Darbel says, start to understand your child. Empathy development best be practiced. Yes, for when we are understanding our children, they learn also to understand their own emotions. No? And of course, we have. A community tribe, according to Ocean, is a must to raise disciplined children. Yes, it is important for them to learn also how to behave behave socially. And when a parent actually is part of a community where there is a community that celebrates, a community that celebrates and acknowledge the differences, and yet not tolerate you by teaching you things, by giving you some tips, no, of how things can be better. It's the same. I mean, you also learn to create a support network for your children. So that's the 9 techniques. There's just 9. You may choose one of those that you can experiment on, that you can practice, because you need, I mean, with the acknowledgement that your child is fallible, I believe you can do all these techniques, try each one of them, so that you can strengthen and practice patience for the sake of your child. Now, One of the things that I can remember, now this gives me a smile. Now this gives me a smile. One of the things that I can remember that patience was taught to me early in life is through baking. Yes, you got it right. It is through baking. My mom is a home economic teacher in high school, and during the time in the early between 1970s and 1980s, there were few bakeries before here, especially in Tacloban City, and cakes and muffins were considered to be expensive and are only available on special occasions, especially during birthdays. And moms really have to come into a space of understanding baking and need to bake for special occasions because it is seen as really expensive. My mom started teaching me that. At the age of 12, I baked my own birthday cake. It was a simple butter cake as my birthday cake. No icing yet, no icing yet. That time, my mom was not yet doing icing, but she did start doing it later. I know butter cake by heart, chocolate cake, and my favorite is marble cake. No, that's my favorite. That's a favorite cake of mine. Now, how come I say I was taught patience through the process of baking? Because for those who are baking, isn't it right that master coaches mean that you have to measure accurately every ingredient to ensure you get your expectations right. You got to patiently wait. No, practice patient to wait, not to pull out in the oven the freshly cooked cake or muffin, or else the middle part of the cake or muffin will sag or flop down. For the bakers, you know this. Back then, my mom told me that the perfect cake or muffin has to be higher in the middle. Plus, to get it rising, you need to really do a certain single stroke in beating the batter. When you say batter, that is the cake mixture. And I remember before when chiffon cake became a fad here in, like, you become a good baker when you're able to create and produce a good chiffon cake. And I remember we have to really, there was no egg beater yet, the electric egg beater. And my mom would teach me how to really beat the egg white so that it will rise to give you a perfect chiffon cake, right? Well, honestly, now as a mom, I may not, at the time I kind of feel I hate it because I don't want to be measuring it up. But honestly, that thing that my mom taught me, I passed that simple learning to my daughter who loves to bake brownies and cakes. She loves to do it. That's her distressor. So if you're one parent desiring to do bonding time and start teaching patience as well to your child, you can do this through baking. You can do this through baking. No, I invite you to check out our digital asset, our website, Bake Pretty. Bake Pretty offers baking basics, the friendliest, no, baking basics. They will teach the website will teach you that. It offers baking basic, then how to even and how to of baking, simple way, and even teach you the certain kitchen staples, no, certain kitchen staples, and recipes to really help you start baking in a fun way, keeping you pretty all the way. So, to all the moms in there, check in. Even the dads who are into cooking, check out our www.bakepretty.com. And I'm pretty sure the process in itself will stretch you to patience. And the more that you are able to really practice it, the more that you're going to be lovable really for your children. So thank you so much for hopping in this afternoon. I hope that you are able, or as was able to get all the things that I've shared. It's such a pleasure to have you in here. If from what I have shared, you need more details or simply a deeper conversation, you want to explore some points with me, you can connect with me through my page, Life Coach Marife Garfin page, or email me at narsmarife.mg@gmail.com, or connect with me for those non-techie moms and you just want to have conversation with me, 0975995232. So love bomb boom, love bomb boom, love bomb boom. This is Life Coach Marife Garfin for Think Talk Broadcast, broadcasting beyond borders to bring the world to your screen. God bless everyone.